Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. Last week, I mentioned that I was going to be sharing my thoughts on coaching and mentoring. And for me, I wanted to get this started, what I think is the single most overlooked area of our industry, and one that takes some time and effort to get ahead of. And I think far too many companies and managers, um, you know, really miss the mark because they're looking to find skilled people, but they often just get those skilled people and throw them in a position and expect that things are just going to work out. And while that may happen at some level, you're basically just allowing people to function as they always have functioned, and they never really grow in experience or productivity because they continually just repeat what they've already known or they already know. And as the great Greg Frost once told me, being in the mortgage business for 8 years doesn't mean that you have 8 years of experience. You likely have just repeated your first year in the business 7 times. And that's always resonated with me, the fact that this should be a business where people grow and evolve, um, and really improve uh, their own lives, their own performance, their own productivity, uh, and help prove the and enhance the process by which everybody works, by being the one that spots little details and things that could be adjusted or rearranged that may make the process smoother, more efficient, more effective, or more profitable. So I wanted to share my insights on that here today and give you an overview of what I call the 5 areas of mentoring. And it's something that I think about all the time when I'm working with my clients and the companies that I deal with. And I wanted to try to put it into words and share it where we could break it up into bite-sized pieces. By no means can we, you know, I'm not going to record an entire site visit to go over this, but I can touch on the pieces and hopefully they'll resonate, and you can see them and be aware of them, and potentially be something that we can talk about in a more deep in a deeper way down the road. And so the 5 areas that I try to highlight, especially again when you're thinking about coaching and mentoring people in an organization, when it's your team, your branches, your whole overall philosophy is, and the first thing is rules of the game. What are we trying to do, and what are the parameters in which we're going to make that happen? What are the very rules that you want to operate your team, your branch, your company? Because if people aren't clear of what all the rules are, then you get blindsided. And we all know that ignorance of the law is no excuse. But in the company level, not fully explaining the rules of the game to your people, your team, can often lead to miscommunication and challenges. The second piece of the puzzle, the second area of mentoring, are the tools of the game. What tools are you using in your way to go? Mortgage companies, loan officers, teams, branches all operate differently. While we fundamentally just attract new business and process the business that we've attracted and manage the communications, well, those things are the same for everybody. The tools that we're using on a day-to-day basis are widely different. We all know that. And so to try to go through all the different things or tell you what's best is really fruitless, because there is no best that works for everybody. And what I hope you take from me is understanding that what's best is what works for you, that you're most comfortable with, that generates the result and the reputation and the customer satisfaction that you're looking for in your market. The third piece here, the third area of mentoring, is how do we win the game? Oftentimes people throw ideas up there. We're going to close this many units. We're going to do this dollar volume. We're going to have this market share. And that's great, because that is the target by which you're trying to to get to this, your destination, if you will. But very few people break down the how. They very rarely, and I stress this all the time, you know, what are you doing? What is the result? What are the numbers of progression from your efforts to generate an opportunity to what percentage of those opportunities generate the result that you were looking for or an acceptable result? And so few people actually track it all the way through. And again, another critical piece. The fourth area of mentoring will always be attracting participants to the game. And whether they be workers, originators, processors, assistants, managers, referral partners, and clients, you're all trying, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to get in front of opportunities, but not just opportunities. We're getting in front of the opportunities that we want. We're not out there trying to collect a whole bunch of things for the sake of collecting them. It's people who go out there and the last few years got under the misconception, my job is to go on social media and do videos and generate leads. Well, yeah, but just like everything else, and we've seen that with people who've bought leads lists and gone down that path, unless you're willing to make 150 to 200 phone calls a day and constantly chase these things, you're not differentiating yourself. You're pushing a sale, and I don't think many people want to do that. I'm not saying all people don't, but I'm saying many people don't. And to be honest with you, if the last 6 months in the industry has shown anything, it has shown people who work on a relational basis, people who generate opportunities by personal referral, people who care about and produce value and exceptional client experiences are far, far, far outpacing those that are pounding leads lists and trying to establish clickbait and follow up. And I think that's only going to continue through 2023. And if you want to know whether or not your system is working, well, take a look at your last 6 months production and compare it. What was your first 6 months of last year? What was your last 6 months of last year? If you've fallen off significantly, then you've probably got a problem, and you're aware of it. And by the way, it's not the industry, it's not the market, it's not interest rates, because I got people doing as much business now as they did last year, and obviously rates are higher, and obviously the market is a little less hot. There's a little less activity. There's a little less demand. But guess what? They're doing what I've said always happens in down markets or markets that are trending downward in activity levels, and that's the better people pick up market share. And that's exactly what's happening. And last is keeping connected to those who've played the game. And again, I can't stress enough that people forget to stay connected with their clients, with their referral partners, with the people that they've met. They don't have a really airtight plan, and they often push off follow-up as if it doesn't mean anything, because sure, you can push off certain follow-ups a day or maybe even a week, and people won't notice that you didn't show up or you didn't call or you didn't contact them. But over time, those missed opportunities really add up, and sometimes that day or that week turns into a month or a year, and that client or that referral partner ends up gone. So some of us have mastered a few of these points, others have not. Many who will either read the blog post or watch this video may not even been aware that any or all of these things actually exist, and now it's something for them to focus on. And if you've followed my work over the years, you're likely to see that I'm mentioning some familiar terms and concepts, because that's really the core of what business to me is. And over the next month or so, we're going to have a conversation here. I'm going to break these things down one at a time so that we have a reasonable understanding of what each of these concepts are, how to master each area, and more importantly, how to help others do the same thing, the people that you're responsible for, and the people that you're trying to go. Now, information is always important, but execution is essential. It's really important. Yes, you're aware of this, but now what are you going to do about it? I want to help you with both of those things. Not only do I want to provide the information, but I want to be there to help you set up processes by which you're accountable to doing the things that you say that you're going to do, and doing them when you say you were going to do them. And if you want to go deeper, and again, I've only got 10 minutes or so to do these every week, and obviously there's a lot more there. But these blog posts are just to generate interest in concepts. What you have to do, if you're seeing the value in any of this stuff, is you've got to email me and say, hey, let's talk about this. If you really want to learn how to do this, if you really want to develop a training and a coaching and a mentoring program within your team, within your branch, within your company, it's Mike@imtcoaching.com. Let me help you get that done. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.